I call the honourable member Eugenie Sage.
Amendment Bill number 2, which the Green Party is supporting. And that's because the Local Electoral Act is about ensuring a transparent local body electoral process and ensuring that the public can be confident in that process. So we certainly support the thrust of the bill to align the practice at local authority elections with that at general elections and making those local electoral processes more robust. And certainly capping anonymous donations at $1,500 is one example of that, making them compatible, and requiring a third party who received a donation on behalf of the candidate to disclose the identity of the donor if he or she knows it is another. But, Mr Chair, I'd like to speak to the supplementary order paper number 215, which is in my name, and that would provide for greater consultation when decisions are made to adjourn elections. And that's because Clause 21 of the bill inserts a new Section 73A in the Principal Act, and that would enable electoral processes to be adjourned in the case of a local or national emergency so that electors aren't denied the opportunity to cast a valid vote, to nominate a candidate or to accept nomination. Now, the current Act allows elections to be postponed for 14 days, and this bill proposes to extend this to 6 weeks and allow that to be rolled over. And it is a very serious decision to deprive or postpone the rights of citizens to a vote. And we've seen that in Environment Canterbury and the lack of an ability to vote in councillors and the fact that that's been postponed indefinitely, it seems. So, as drafted, the bill provides for the decision to postpone a local authority election to be made by the Minister of Local Government by order in Council after consulting the affected local authorities and the affected electoral officer. The SOP retains this provision, but it requires that each affected local authority and their electoral officers must have agreed to the decision to postpone the election and must have advised the Minister of their agreement before an order in Council can be issued postponing the election. We need this SOP because ministers under this national government have been far too ready to take and keep power to themselves, to wade in and direct councils so that decisions important to local communities are being made increasingly by ministers rather than by the local councillors whom that community elected. And we've certainly seen that in the very sweeping powers which the Minister of Earthquake Recovery continues to hold in Canterbury, and he, not the councils, end up signing off final decisions on a raft of plans, programs and strategies which are critical for the rebuild of Christchurch. And we've seen it in the broken ministerial promise, and I'm pleased that the Minister and the Chair is the same Minister who was involved in removing democracy in Canterbury. So the broken ministerial promise there to reinstate elections for Environment Canterbury this year, and the decision to introduce legislation which further postpones those elections. So this SOP provides a check on this ministerial power, and it underlines the importance of not depriving our citizens of their right to vote without a very, very good reason. And the SOP, with the requirement that councils agree to elections being postponed, represents a partnership approach to local government, which the Green Party believes is absolutely crucial to a healthy and functioning relationship between central and local government, unlike this government, which has got a bullying relationship with local government and seems intent on directing it and directing local councils to do what ministers please. So by putting in this SOP and making sure that councils actually agree to postponing elections, it's much more of a partnership approach. Talking briefly about some other clauses in the bill, we certainly support the proposed insertion of a requirement that voting papers must include a warning that it's an offence to interfere in any way with anyone who is about to vote. We often take that for granted, that there won't be interference with voting, but it's appropriate that it's in this bill. But it is very ironic, Mr Chair, that the government is sponsoring this bill, which highlights that it's an offence to interfere with a person about to vote. Mr Chair.
I call the honourable member.
Thank you.
Eugenie Sage.
When it's been National and ACT who have so grossly interfered with the right of Cantabrians to vote for their regional council by cancelling that opportunity and extending the term of appointed commissioners. And one of the disappointing aspects of the bill is that the government SOP doesn't take the advice of the Select Committee to strengthen Clause 27 and ensure that it catches cases where an individual or a company provides a discounted advertising to one candidate and then charges everybody else the regular rate and ensures that such donations are disclosed. One of the big gaps in the bill too, where the Green Party has a concern, is its failure to regulate and modernise the rules governing third-party spending on local body elections. And in its report, the Select Committee noted that the bill as introduced didn't cover these third-party donations and expenditures, and that left a potential gap for third parties to receive donations and use the funds to promote a candidate and potentially to denigrate other candidates without appropriate regulation and without the candidate's permission. Because at the moment, third parties can spend an unlimited amount to campaign for or against certain candidates, and the bill does nothing about this. So the Select Committee concluded that there wasn't time to implement the changes before the local body elections in October, but the Green Party remains disappointed by this major gap in the legislation and commends a members' bill in the name of my colleague Denise Roche, the Local Electoral Finance Amendment Bill, which would impose a $5,000 cap on donations by any person or group. It would regulate third-party donations and it would ban overseas donations. But the Green Party, Mr Chair, is supporting this bill because it does make some improvements in the Principal Act and would commend the SOP 215 to implement a much more partnership arrangement with local government in relation to any postponing of elections. Thank you.
Mr Chairman.
I call the honourable member Dennis O'Rourke.
Thank you, Mr Chair.